Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with key stakeholders in the electronic media, urges them to ensure swift spread of information and awareness to combat coronavirus, apart from praising their role in curbing disinformation. The Prime Minister also engages with top representatives of the industry to brief different sectors on board in the anti-COVID war. Prime Minister Narendra Modi appeals to people to follow the lockdown instructions strictly, tells the state governments to ensure compliance. Cabinet Secretary writes to chief secretaries in the state to ensure complete adherence to lockdown, seeks tough legal action against those who do not follow the directions. Efforts on at war footing in the country to halt the advance of coronavirus. 30 states and UTs announced complete lockdown in the entire state and UT covering 544 districts. Curfew imposed in Maharashtra and Punjab. All commercial passenger flight operations suspended starting midnight on Tuesday till the 31st of March. Senior BJP leader Shivraj Singh Chouhan takes oath as Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh for the fourth time, outlines containment of COVID-19 as his first priority as the Chief Minister. Parliament adjourned sine die ahead of schedule after passing the Finance Bill. 13 bills passed during the budget session in Lok Sabha. And the number of coronavirus confirmed cases go past the 3.25 lakh mark worldwide, over 14,000 dead. The toll in the Italy crosses 5,500. Several countries go into lockdown mode to stop the advance of the disease. Namaskar and welcome all of you in this edition of Doordarshan News. I am Kiran Shah presenting the top happenings of the day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is constantly tracking the efforts to combat the coronavirus pandemic in the country. He is also engaging with key stakeholders in different sectors to ensure the outbreak is battled on possible fronts on the same time. He held a video conference today with the key stakeholders in the electronic media, where he not only praised their work in spreading awareness and countering misinformation about COVID-19 in the country, but also exchanged views and suggestions on the way forward to beat the COVID-19 pandemic.
The entire nation is in a veritable lockdown, with the number of confirmed coronavirus cases mounting every day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with key stakeholders from the electronic media through video conferencing on Monday to discuss the emerging challenges due to the pandemic. Prime Minister thanked the media for understanding the gravity of the situation from day one and appreciated the role played by the channels in spreading awareness. He called the tireless work of reporters, camera persons and technicians as service to the nation. He also praised innovative ideas of some channels, like making arrangements for anchoring from home. The PM urged the electronic media to spread awareness about social distancing. He said information about latest developments and key decisions needs to be communicated swiftly and professionally. Easy to grasp language should be used. Channels should ensure that people don't let their guard down and become careless. The media also needs to counter pessimism and panic through positive communication. The PM said it is necessary to keep doctors and healthcare workers motivated, as they are at the forefront of the battle. He suggested giving boom mics to reporters to maintain safe distance while conducting interviews. And he also urged the channels to spread scientific reports, involve informed people in their discussions, and counter the spread of misinformation. The media representatives also had suggestions for the Prime Minister. They requested the Prime Minister to address the nation more frequently, as he has emotional connect with the people. They asked the PM to include positive stories, especially experiences of those who have recovered from COVID-19. They said a dedicated department with doctors available 24/7 can be set up to check on the reporters and also help combat rumors. It was also suggested that Prasar Bharati can give out authentic information twice a day, which can be used by other TV channels. The PM's engagement with the electronic media also assumes significance at a time when several coronavirus-related rumors are doing the rounds, particularly on social media. Apart from authentic information, the media's role in spreading the right information and opinion has assumed a key role. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar, Health Secretary Preeti Sudan, and Indian Council for Medical Research Director General Balram Bhargav were also present during the interaction. DD India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with industry representatives via video conference of ASSOCHAM, FICCI, CII and several local chambers from 18 cities across the country. Prime Minister Modi said that while the government was working on giving fillip to the pace of growth in the country, an unforeseen hurdle in the form of COVID-19 came in front of the economy. He said that the challenge posed by the pandemic is graver than even that posed by the world wars, and we need to be on the constant vigil to prevent its spread. Prime Minister said that the fulcrum of the economy is trust, and trust has a unique yardstick, and it is earned or lost in difficult and challenging times. The industry representatives thanked the Prime Minister for leading from the front and taking the swift front-footed action to counter the threat. They informed the Prime Minister about the steps being taken by them to maintain supply lines of essential items and medical equipment, including ventilators, assistance in creation of the isolation wards, utilization of CSR funds for combating COVID-19 and provision of assistance to migrant labor. And moving on, the government has said that the use of hydrochloroquine has been advised only to preventive purposes for healthcare workers and those in immediate contact with coronavirus confirmed patients. The focus is now on producing the COVID-19 testing kit so that the testing of the suspected cases can be fast-tracked, apart from COVID and the social distancing, and ensuring that the stay-home remedy is followed strictly.
In order to contain the outbreak of novel coronavirus, elaborate arrangements have been made across the country. The work of making kits for testing coronavirus by ICMR NIV Pune is going on war footing. The test kits approved by ICMR NIV will enable fast tracking of tests. DG of ICMR Balram Bhargav said that there are adequate labs in the country which have started their work.
Kit manufacturers की टेस्टिंग के लिए फास्ट ट्रैक कर दिया गया है ICMR NIV पुणे में, और दो किट मैन्युफैक्चरर ऑलरेडी अप्रूव हो चुके हैं, और ये भी स्पष्ट किया जाना चाहते हैं इस समय कि ये FDA CE अप्रूवल मैंडेटरी नहीं है. ICMR NIV प्रमाणित भी जो टेस्ट किए जाएंगे वहाँ पे फास्ट ट्रैक बेसिस पे वो भी स्वीकृत हैं और इनका प्रयोग किया जा सकता है कोविड टेस्टिंग के लिए.
Indian Council of Medical Research ICMR has recommended the use of hydroxychloroquine for treating healthcare workers tackling the suspected or confirmed coronavirus cases and also the asymptomatic household contacts of the lab confirmed cases. The treatment protocol recommended by the National Task Force has been approved by the Drug Controller General of India for restricted use in emergency situations.
It is recommended only for persons staying and caring for a household positive patient. So if in a household there is a positive patient, they are laboratory confirmed patient and they are caring for him from very close, then they have to, they can take hydroxychloroquine only for prophylaxis, only for prevention, only in these two circumstances.
To contain the spread of the pandemic, it has been instructed to implement lockdown orders in a strict manner. Moreover, the people found flouting directions and orders will have to face action.
These restrictions have to be enforced strictly. और कोई भी अगर ये restrictions violate करता है तो उसके खिलाफ action लेना है, क्योंकि ये एक बहुत ज़रूरी कदम है जिससे कि हम कोविड का spread रोक सकते हैं.
Efforts are on at a war footing across the country to counter the highly contagious and life-threatening disease. People have been advised to stay at home so that the spread of infection can be checked. DD India.
30 states and union territories have announced complete lockdown in the entire state or UT, covering 48 districts of the country, while 3 states have some district lockdown. These 3 states include Uttar Pradesh with 16 districts, Madhya Pradesh with 37 districts and Odisha with 5 districts and 6 municipal jurisdictions. And there is partial lockdown in the Union Territory of Lakshadweep with movement of ships only banned and Section 144 CRPC imposed. All domestic passenger commercial airlines will cease their operations from Tuesday midnight. The restrictions shall not apply to cargo carrying flights.
हमने ऑलरेडी निर्णय ले लिया है और इसकी सूचना भी दी गई है कि कल 24 तारीख है रात को 11:59 तक एक टोटल डोमेस्टिक ट्रैवल पे रुकावट होगी।
ये कब तक के लिए होगा सर?
ये हम मॉनिटर करेंगे सिचुएशन को और जैसे सिचुएशन इवॉल्व करेगी हम वैसे निर्णय लेंगे।
And all commercial passenger flight operations suspended starting midnight on Tuesday till the 31st of March. Public Relations Officer of Delhi Police Mandeep Randhawa has said that the border of Delhi with the neighbouring states will be fully sealed and closed in order to implement Section 144. However, all essential services will continue without any hindrance. He said that the persons engaged in essential services in the national capital will have to seek curfew passes from their DCP offices.
सेक्शन 144 सीआरपीसी को प्रॉपर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के लिए दिल्ली पुलिस अब आज शाम से ही, आज रात से ही तमाम जो इंटर स्टेट हमारे बॉर्डर्स हैं दिल्ली के उनको 100% सील करेगी। इसमें केवल जो मूवमेंट्स एसेंशियल गुड्स और कमोडिटीज़ की मूवमेंट है उसको अलाउ किया जाएगा। इसके साथ साथ जो भी पर्सनस इन्वॉल्व हैं इन एसेंशियल गुड्स और कमोडिटीज़ में, अगर वो दिल्ली बेस्ड की कोई भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं तो वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस अपने जो कंसर्न्ड पुलिस डिस्ट्रिक्ट हेडक्वार्टर्स हैं वहाँ से वो कर्फ्यू पासेस ले सकते हैं ताकि उनकी मूवमेंट में कोई दिक्कत ना आए। और इसी तरह जितनी भी हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं जो एसेंशियल कमोडिटीज़ और गुड्स में डील कर रही हैं, जो एनसीआर की बेस्ड हैं, जैसे गुड़गांव हो गया, फरीदाबाद हो गया, तो ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के लिए हमने नोडल ऑफिसर्स दिल्ली पुलिस ने अपॉइंट किए हैं।
Moving on to the new development, Maharashtra government has imposed a statewide curfew following COVID-19 outbreak. The state has maximum number of coronavirus patients in the country, with the number of infected patients nearing the 100. And State Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has said that people are not following the government directives, and that has led to curfew being imposed in the entire state. And also the Union Territory of Chandigarh was placed under curfew on Monday, hours after the Punjab government imposed it in the entire state in a bid to curb the coronavirus spread. Punjab Governor and Union Territory Chandigarh Administrator VP Singh Badnours decided to impose the curfew in the city with effect from Monday midnight till further orders. The Punjab government clamped the curfew earlier during the day to fight coronavirus spread, making it the first state to take the drastic measure after finding that many people were ignoring the statewide lockdown. And moving on to the new development, the Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Sri Lanka have also come forward with the SAARC fund created at the initiation of Prime Minister Modi to combat COVID-19. The Prime Minister has thanked these 3 SAARC members, and also the SAARC members nations have now announced their contribution to the fund apart from Pakistan. Worldwide, the death toll from the pandemic is over 14,000 and countries across continents and they're fighting tooth and nail to beat back the spread of coronavirus. On one hand, where the spread of COVID-19 pandemic continues across the world, on other hand, Prime Minister Modi proposed a setup of COVID-19 emergency fund for SAARC countries. In this sequence, SAARC countries have also started contributing to the emergency fund on the call of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Bangladesh has announced to contribute 1.5 million, Afghanistan 1 million, and Sri Lanka 5 million to COVID-19 SAARC emergency fund. Prime Minister Modi has also called Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina for this contribution. Prime Minister Modi has thanked Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, Afghan President Ashraf Ghani and Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa for their contribution. Significantly, India has first announced a contribution of 10 million to the COVID-19 SARC Emergency Fund, and after that Nepal announced to give 10 lakh, Maldives 2 lakhs and Bhutan 1 lakh. After announcement of emergency fund from Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Sri Lanka, Pakistan is the only country which has not announced its contribution yet. Meanwhile, the number of deaths due to coronavirus across the world has crossed 15,000. The highest number of deaths occurred in Italy, where more than 5,000 people have died, where in China 3,300 people have died. At the same time, more than 2,100 people have died in Spain and more than 33,000 people are infected. The virus is now spreading at the highest speed in Europe. So far in Germany, about 23,000 people have been infected with this virus.
At midnight last night, we had 22,672 COVID-19 cases in Germany electronically submitted to Robert Koch Institute via the portals of the various health authorities. Compared to the previous day, this was an increase of 4,062. In other words, as expected.
In Iran, total number of people died from COVID-19 have crossed 1,800, where more than 23,000 cases have been confirmed. Nepal has confirmed second case of coronavirus. The country has closed its borders with India and China for a week from Monday. To deal with this roaring pandemic, countries around the world have swiftly implemented extraordinary captives. In Germany, more than 2 people are banned. New Zealand have announced a 4-week lockdown. At the same time, Hong Kong has closed its borders for all non-residents. In the US, President Donald Trump has ordered thousands of emergency beds get prepared in areas badly hit by the COVID-19 virus. Donald Trump has also criticized China's late sharing of information about the outbreak of coronavirus and the refusal of US medical experts to visit in China. Overall, the world has come to a standstill in the face of COVID-19 pandemic. DD India. The coronavirus pandemic is accelerating with more than 3 lakh cases now recorded worldwide and from nearly every country. The head of the World Health Organization said on Monday. Addressing the media in Geneva, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said that the political commitment and he said that he would address the group of the 20 leaders this week and ask them to work together to boost production of the vital protective gear for healthcare workers.
The pandemic is accelerating. To win, we need to attack the virus with aggressive and targeted tactics. Testing every suspected case, isolating and caring for every confirmed case, and tracing and quarantining every close contact.
The center has decided to stop all incoming passengers on 107 immigration checkpoints that include all airports, seaports, land ports, rail ports and river ports. In a notification, the Union Home Ministry said that decision has been taken in view of the coronavirus outbreak. All incoming passenger traffic on all 107 immigration checkposts, which includes the all airport ICPs, all seaports ICPs and all land ports ICPs, all rail port ICPs and all river port ICPs has been stopped in the view of the spread of coronavirus. Vehicles and the trains carrying goods for trade or essential goods and the supplies are exempted from this prohibition, along with the crew, driver, helper, cleaner and etc. and subject to their thorough screening by medical staff for COVID-19. And moving on, the prospect of postponing the Tokyo 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games looms larger than ever after Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe today said that the delaying the event may be the only option to avoid the exacerbating the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. The International Olympic Committee is already considering a postponement of Tokyo 2020 and has given itself a deadline of 4 weeks to make a decision. Canada and Australia will not send athletes to the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo because of the risk associated with the coronavirus outbreak. Let's hear the more report.
Shadow of pandemic COVID-19 hangs heavy over the Tokyo Olympics slated to begin on the 24th of July. The Australian Olympic Committee has announced it would not send its team to the Olympics and Paralympics in the summer of 2020.
The feedback we received over the weekend, particularly after the new decisions by the government, plus also what's happening around the world, potential outbreaks in Africa and other places, we need to give our athletes that certainty, and that's what we've done.
Australian Olympic Committee said it could not assemble a team for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics due to the coronavirus. Australia is the second country to make this announcement. The Canadian Olympic Committee and the Paralympic Committee had done the same on Sunday. Opposition to holding the Games in July has risen sharply in the past 48 hours, with several major stakeholders such as US Track and Field and UK Athletics, along with several national Olympic committees, calling for a delay because of the pandemic. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe told a parliamentary session on Monday that this summer's Tokyo Olympics cannot be held under current circumstances due to the new coronavirus pandemic, suggesting for the first time that the Games may have to be postponed. He, however, ruled out cancellation.
We have hoped to hold the game in its entirety as proof that the world has defeated the coronavirus. I have thought a cancellation is not an option at all. We will think of the athletes first and foremost. We may have no option but to consider postponing the Games.
Meanwhile, Tokyo 2020 Olympics chief Yoshiro Mori said that organizers would consider postponement as one of the many scenarios that they aim to have ready in 4 weeks, but that the Games would not be cancelled. Tokyo Governor Yuriko Koike also echoed similar sentiments.
First of all, regarding cancellation, we have never considered it. It's unimaginable. Postponement isn't our first course of action, but we can't not consider it.
The Prime Minister Shinzo Abe also said at Parliament that if the Games become difficult to hold as planned, he would think of the athletes first and might have no option but to consider postponing it. And I agree with him.
Tokyo locals also favor the idea of postponing the Tokyo 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games.
I think it's better to postpone the Olympic Games and be flexible to avoid spreading the virus. The Olympics gathers people from all over the world.
If we go ahead with the Games, it will end up being compromised because of the coronavirus. Huge efforts for preparation have been done, so I hope it will be held in a good way. If the Games are held as planned and visitors to Japan gets infected with the coronavirus, it would create a bad image for Japan.
Cancellation or even postponing the Tokyo Olympics will take a huge toll economically for Japan. Analyst Robert Ward tweeted early estimates of economic impact on Japan of not holding Tokyo Olympics as scheduled up to 7.8 trillion yen, equivalent to 71 billion US dollars. If cancelled, more than 600 billion yen if postponed, an inevitable but grim decision for Abe. The International Olympic Committee had on Sunday said it would decide whether or not to postpone the Summer Games at some point in the next 4 weeks. However, it added that cancelling the Games altogether was not on the agenda. Bureau Report, DD India.
In Madhya Pradesh, senior BJP leader Shivraj Singh Chouhan has become Chief Minister of the state for the 4th time. Governor Laljit Tandon administered him the oath of office in secrecy at a simple ceremony held at Raj Bhavan. Shivraj Singh Chouhan took oath alone due to the outbreak of the coronavirus, and speaking after taking oath, Shivraj Singh Chouhan said that the first priority of the government is to work on a war footing for containing COVID-19 pandemic.
अभी तो एक ही प्राथमिकता है, कोरोना वायरस के संक्रमण को रोकना। एक बड़ी चुनौती है हमारे सामने। हमारे प्रिय प्रधानमंत्री और करोड़ों करोड़ जनता जिन पर श्रद्धा, भक्ति और विश्वास रखती है, उन्होंने जन सहयोग से कोरोना वायरस के संक्रमण को समाप्त करने का संकल्प लिया है। उनके संकल्प में सभी प्रदेशवासी सहभागी बने। आज तो यही संकल्प है। मैं गवर्नर साहब से मिलके सीधे यहाँ से वल्लभ भवन जाऊंगा, सेक्रेटरीट, और कोरोना के खिलाफ जनता के साथ मिलकर युद्ध की शुरुआत हम करेंगे। एक अभूतपूर्व संकट है। मैं जनता जनार्दन से, कार्यकर्ताओं से, सभी साथियों से अपील करता हूं कि ये जश्न मनाने का समय नहीं है, उत्साह के प्रकटीकरण का समय नहीं है। एक भयानक संकट से हम जूझ रहे हैं, गुजर रहे हैं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Shivraj Singh Chouhan on becoming MP CM, and in a tweet he said that congratulations to Shri Shivraj Singh Chouhan ji on taking oath as the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. He is an able and experienced administrator who is extremely passionate about MP's development. Best wishes to him for taking the state to new heights of progress. And moving on, Monday also saw members of parliament lauding the efforts of doctors, healthcare workers and all those providing essential services across the country through clapping in the same way as it happened across the country during Janata curfew on Sunday. The budget session of parliament was adjourned sine die nearly 10 days ahead of its schedule due to the coronavirus pandemic and after passing of the finance bill. Indian equity markets plunged even lower after reopening post a 45-minute halt caused during the S&P PASE. Sensex hit its 10% lower circuit level and the S&P BSE Sensex tanked 12% on 3,600 points to 26,260 levels. The Nifty 50 index fell 1,032 points or 11.82% to 7,700. Although the market saw across the board selling, bank and the auto stock were the worst hit. The Nifty Bank index was down over 15% and the Axis Bank tumbled 19% and Industrials Bank was down was of the 18% and the ICICI Bank slumped 15%. In the broader market, the S&P BSE Mid Cap Index was trading with 6.9% cut and the S&P BSE Small Cap Index was down by 9.4%. And that was all in this edition. Thank you for watching the Doordarshan News. Namaskar.